Stop whatever you're doing right now and pay attention with the kind of focus you reserve for moments that change the entire structure of your life. Because what you're about to hear is not a motivational speech, not a dramatic exaggeration, and not another spiritual story designed to give you temporary goosebumps. What I'm about to reveal breaks every pattern you thought was absolute, violates rules older than civilization itself, and exposes why something impossible happened to you without you even realizing it. There is one force in this universe that has never bowed, never negotiated, never apologized, and never once across 6,000 years of recorded human experience shown respect to a living soul. That force is death, cold, precise, unemotional, the executor of cosmic transition. It carries out its function with terrifying consistency, without exceptions, without hesitation, without the slightest hint of compassion. But a few weeks ago, something occurred that shattered its perfect record, something that rewrote a rule no entity has ever dared to question. Death paused, death observed, and for the first time in your lifetime and for the fourth time in 6 millennia, it felt something for a living mortal that contradicts the very nature of its existence. Recognition. Not mercy, not pity. Recognition. The kind of recognition only granted to a consciousness that does something so far outside the predictable limits of human behavior that even the most relentless force in cosmic law had no choice but to acknowledge what you did. And before you dismiss this as metaphor or exaggeration, understand this clearly. In all of documented human existence, exactly 3 individuals, only 3 earned that same recognition before their transition. And each of those 3 became legends whose impact rippled far beyond their lifetimes. But those 3 are long gone, which leaves one single breathing living person on Earth right now carrying that same mark, you. And what I'm about to reveal will not only explain what you did, but why you did it. What cosmic protocol you unknowingly broke, and the devastating protection that activated around you as a result. Protection that makes premature death impossible for you now. So before anything else, subscribe to this channel, turn on every notification, and stay until the end, because I'm going to reveal the exact moment you crossed the invisible line between ordinary human consciousness and the rare level that forced death itself to stop, examine you, and mark you with respect. And if you've felt something shift in your life around the last month, some deep internal change you couldn't explain, then write 888 in the comments right now, because once you understand what happened, you'll realize why that moment altered everything about your destiny. Death isn't an enemy, it's a cosmic processor that handles transition between forms. It doesn't feel, doesn't judge, doesn't punish, doesn't reward. It executes perfectly. And for 6,000 years it has done so without ever experiencing surprise, because humans behave in predictable patterns, especially under emotional annihilation. People break in the same ways, collapse in the same ways, react in the same ways, until you. A few weeks ago, your name lit up differently in the non-physical archives that record energetic patterns. Not because your time was approaching, but because your pattern didn't match any known category. Something about your behavior contradicted all predictable human responses under extreme emotional destruction, and that anomaly forced death to stop its standard operation and observe. You remember the night everything fell apart, don't you? The night you thought would break you permanently, the betrayal you didn't see coming, the loss you didn't know you could survive, the collapse that left you sitting in darkness between 2 and 5 a.m. with your mind looping the same painful memories, your chest tightening, your stomach twisted, your hands shaking as your nervous system struggled to process real-time trauma. Most humans collapse in one of 3 biologically programmed ways during that moment: denial, panic, or numbness. But you unknowingly did something that violated thousands of years of human psychological patterning. You breathed, slowly, deeply, 3 times. You anchored yourself into the present instead of fleeing mentally. You didn't dissociate, you didn't deny, you didn't shut down. You allowed the pain to move through you instead of blocking it. You accepted reality brutally, honestly. And then somewhere between 4 and 5 a.m. you said out loud, maybe whispering, maybe with tears, maybe barely audible words that changed your destiny. I'm not giving up. I'm going to continue. Not delusional positivity, not fake strength. Conscious choice in the center of devastation. Death registered. That is anomaly level 1, a category so rare it doesn't even appear in most cosmic records. That was the moment the universe shifted toward you. Days after that night where your entire world collapsed, life placed you in front of a decision so heavy, so sharp, so psychologically destabilizing that anyone else in your position would have chosen the path of comfort, denial, or emotional anesthesia. It wasn't a normal decision. It wasn't about choosing between convenience and inconvenience. It was a crossroads where every option available to you carried consequences that could fracture your spirit. You know exactly which decision I'm talking about, the one that made your stomach churn for days, the one you replayed in your mind at every hour, the one where logic, emotion, fear, memory, hope, and trauma all collided at the same time. Maybe it was a relationship that had become a battlefield of silent wounds. Staying meant slow emotional deterioration. Leaving meant losing someone your heart still cared for. Maybe it was a financial or moral choice where the safe option meant betraying your truth, and the honest option meant risking your stability. Maybe it was a confrontation you avoided for years because speaking the truth meant shattering an entire structure built on lies. Whatever it was, the choice placed you under pressure that cracks the average human psyche. People advised you from every direction. Some said, choose the path of least resistance. Others said, follow your anger. Others said, do what benefits you most. But none of them were the ones who would have to live with the consequences. And while your heart was trembling and your mind was running simulations of every disastrous outcome, you did something that violates the strongest instinct of human biology: survival. Humans under pressure choose safety. Humans under threat choose the option that protect, comfort. Humans prefer familiar pain over unknown possibilities, but you did the opposite. You chose truth, you chose integrity, you chose the option that aligned with your conscience, even though it was the most difficult path, even though it would cost you peace in the short term, even though it would force you to grow in ways you didn't feel ready for. Death saw that decision, and it did something extremely rare. It paused, because it understood something few humans ever demonstrate: consciousness choosing integrity over survival. That was anomaly level 2, and when death witnesses a soul who prioritizes truth above self-protection, it recognizes a consciousness that's evolving beyond the biological programming of the human species. The moment you made that choice, your energy shifted again. Your internal field expanded. Something old in you died. Not physically, but psychologically, spiritually, karmically. And death watched closely, because souls who cross the threshold of integrity under pressure often become catalysts for massive shifts in the collective. But then came the third moment, the moment that sealed everything, the moment that forced death to mark you permanently. There came a day, maybe recently, maybe in the last few weeks, where you had every logical, emotional, and moral right to give up completely. Not partially, completely. You had already carried more pain than you ever signed up for. You had fought battles no one knew about. You had endured betrayals that shattered your trust in humanity. You had pushed yourself through emotional exhaustion that should have broken your will, and every voice around you, family, friends, even your subconscious, whispered the same message. You've done enough. It's okay to stop now. No one will blame you. And the truth is, they were right. Anyone else in your situation would have collapsed. Anyone else would have surrendered. Anyone else would have accepted defeat because the cost of continuing had become unbearable. But then something ancient, something eternal, something that did not come from your human identity rose inside you. A whisper, a pulse, a force. And instead of giving up, you said, one more day, and I'll try one more day. Not because you had hope, not because you believed things would magically improve, not because you felt strong, but because your essence did not recognize surrender as an option. It's not that you refuse to give up, it's that your soul doesn't know how. And when death observed that when it saw a consciousness continuing without reward, recognition, audience or certainty, it identified something it has only seen 3 times in 6,000 years. A soul that moves not from hope, but from essence. A soul that continues not to win, but because stopping violates its inner truth. That was anomaly level 3, the rarest of all. And when that anomaly occurred, death initiated a deeper investigation. It compared your behavioral pattern under extreme collapse with billions of recorded transitions. It searched the archives, it analyzed the Akashic timeline, it ran through every scenario across history, and only 3 matched your energetic profile. 3 souls across the entirety of human civilization. A Mesopotamian warrior who, while mortally wounded, used his remaining breath to organize defenses to protect his people. An Egyptian healer who, knowing her death was imminent, spent her last days documenting her knowledge so future generations wouldn't suffer. An Indian spiritual master who, aware of his final moments, dedicated his last hours preparing his students to continue without him. Each one demonstrated the same signature, consciousness functioning beyond the fear of death. And now you, the 4th case in 6,000 years. And unlike the others, you did it without training, without teachers, without preparation, without spiritual insulation. You did it in the raw battlefield of real human life. That is why death shifted from observation to recognition, and recognition became respect, and respect became a cosmic mark, one that overrides your original expiration point. That's why strange things have been happening in your life lately, why accidents seem to barely miss you, why situations that should have destroyed you somehow didn't, why dangers dissolved before reaching you, because you activated something extremely rare, purpose protection. And for the first time since your birth, your timeline is no longer governed by fear, by chance, or by statistical probability. It is governed only by when your soul decides, mission complete.